What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon, the crypto universe. Today is Tuesday, October 17th. In today's video, we have to do a follow-up on the FTX trial. This is the United States versus FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. As you're well aware, Sam Bankman-Fried is the largest Ponzi schemer within the cryptocurrency and digital asset aspect. Now, with that said, we have to talk about the billions of dollars that have been spent on endorsements, celebrities, and political figures. We have to understand the scale of this Ponzi scheme, of this fraudulent activity, because we need to understand how to protect ourselves as consumers, as customers. The more we know about Sam Bankman-Fried, the more clarity we have over regulation and over the protection of our digital assets. Because right now, the US soon will be approving spot Bitcoin ETFs, which means there are going to be a lot more larger investors, institutions, and regular retail investors such as ourselves that are going to have more exposure to this. So you have to understand what Sam Bankman-Fried has done thus far. So before we cover all of this, you have to stick around to the very end of the video to hear my conclusion and statement, and understand that right now there is a potential for 90% of the funds of FTX to be recovered by customers and returned back to customers. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So with that said, be sure to like the button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Patreon page. And most importantly, please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I will never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email, so please be careful and invest safely. So guys and girls, let's get right into it. So the very first thing we need to talk about is that, yeah, we do know that Sam Bankman-Fried has taken billions of dollars of customer funds to invest it in endorsements, but also he was planning at some point to partner up with Telegram to start a ton token. FTX was all over the place. They bought a stadium, they were having commercials with celebrities on it, but also they were spending money to create crazy deals such as this. The fact that Sam Bankman-Fried wanted to work with an app called Telegram, which allows people to communicate throughout the world, to start its own token, is another way of saying that this was absolutely ridiculous. Because again, it was multi-millions of dollars of our customer funds being spent on something speculative like this. It just doesn't end there, because one of the FTX executives or former executives spotted and knew around $8 billion of the customer money was missing. His name is Nishad Singh, which we will talk about in a little bit. He's one of the very few people that was in the inner circle of Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, he has pleaded guilty thus far, as we are in the third week of trial. But before we get into that, we got to talk about the most obvious thing, which was we did know that some of the money that we deposited into the FTX exchange was used for celebrity endorsements, but also real estate as well. So Sam Bankman-Fried bought a ton of property in the Bahamas and also other places as well with the customer funds that we've had. And also, like I said, paid certain celebrities such as Tom Brady and Steph Curry for those endorsement deals. Steph Curry was featured in one of the FTX commercials that was broadcasted during the Super Bowl. And also we have this one, which it was Tom Brady, who had his former wife, who they've gotten a divorce, to also be starred in an FTX commercial. They were actually official partners with them. But after the FTX debacle and fraud was lifted, we saw that these two ended up splitting up. Now, also, we have to keep in mind that around $13 billion of customer funds were just kind of missing out of nowhere. We don't know where these funds have went, but we do know that right now, like I said before, political donations, celebrities, and other things as well. Now, when we look at those political donations, you can see here back in 2022 that these were the different type of Democrats and Republicans, or even bipartisan parties, that received a ton of money from Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. If you look at the House majority, look at that, $6 million. The GMI, 3.7. Senate Leadership Fund, 3.5, and so forth, so on. As you can see here, the reason he's starting to donate a ton of our customer funds to these political parties is because if you have Congress on your side, then you're actually trying to seek protection from them, because he knew that Binance, which is an exchange in Dubai and in Singapore, is one of their main competitors. So what he wanted to do was pretty much cripple Binance by getting the support of Congress on his side. That's why he was donating even our funds to these major parties. Now, another news, we do know that when these millions of dollars of customer funds were donated to certain politicians, there were certain people, certain elected officials that received a certain amount of monies from this person. And these are the names right here. And if you want to, feel free to pause this video. Again, this was back in 2022 to support these candidates. benefits. As you can see, it's not cheap. A lot of them receive up to $2 million at most to even $1.5, even $1 million. Again, a lot of these names are still out there. We're not sure if these people return the funds. But again, these are certain people that have returned the funds or haven't responded at all. So say, for instance, we do know that right now, $5.2 million was spent of our customer funds to the 2020 Biden campaign. As of right now, we don't know where that money is. It hasn't been returned. It hasn't been donated. It's just out in the blue. We don't know where it is, but we do know that at least Beto O'Rourke from Texas returned those funds. Now, so far, he's the only person that I know thus far that has returned all the money, which goes to show the integrity of Beto O'Rourke. But some people have received donations, but haven't responded in terms of what those donations have gone or where they've been. And then there's also, say, for instance, we have Senator Mitt Romney, who ended up turning over those funds to the Treasury. Now, one of the politicians that received funds from Sam Bankman-Fried was Maxine Waters. Now, what's really interesting about Maxine Waters is that recently, if you don't know, Gary Gensler, who is part of the Security Exchange Commission, also known as the SEC, has been testifying in front of the Financial House Committee consistently over and over, trying to explain to everybody why cryptocurrency hasn't been regulated, why there hasn't been a spot Bitcoin ETF pass, when really we do know that Security Exchange Commission Gary Gensler is really not trying to pass cryptocurrency. So he's looking out for the banks. He's looking out for centralized companies. But again, Maxine Waters actually praises Gary Gensler. In fact, Maxine Waters does not want cryptocurrency to be adopted, but the thing is, she received donations from Sam Bankman-Fried. Maybe she's trying to cut ties with him. And in this video right here, you can see that she's blowing kisses to Sam Bankman-Fried, who was actually at one of the congressional hearings. Again, she received donations from him as well. But recently, we saw a memo that came out and was released by Sam Bankman-Fried, which was released back in February 2022. So this was leaked recently. Now, it says here in LA last weekend, he met up with Michael Kieves and his firm K5. He said he is probably the most connected person I've ever met. In attendance at the dinner at his house were Hillary Clinton, Doug Emhoff, Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom, Kate Hudson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeff Bezos, Ted Sarandos, Kendall Jenner, Kris Jenner, Corey Gamble, etc., etc. And it even further talks about what these celebrities really want from them, right? If it's clarity around cryptocurrencies, maybe co-investments, maybe them working with Democrat politics, but also there's a list right here that says, what can we get from these specific people, right? Which is potential unpaid partnerships with celebrities, meaning these celebrities will just do it because they know that Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX is just a big baller and they're just wanting to be a part of it. Maybe potential endorsement deals, but also dinner with potential huge leaders such as Elon Musk, Obama, Zuckerberg, so forth, so on. So obviously this is something completely crooked, and if this memo is real, this is something that cannot be ignored. If you don't believe me, these are some celebrities right here with Sam Bankman-Fried. We have Katy Perry, we have Orlando Bloom, we have Kate Hudson. There he is, Sam Bankman-Fried. So he really is meeting up with these people. It isn't just rumors. This is real stuff that's happening right in front of our eyes. So we actually have to talk about the recent testimony between Nishad Singh, because he said that Sam Bankman-Fried spent around $1.13 billion on celebrities and sponsorships. Again, there's over $8 billion to up to $13 billion that we know stolen from customers from FTX that were spent here. And the fact that he is aware that roughly around $1.3 billion was spent on celebrities and sponsorships is crazy in my mind. Now, Nishad Singh is the former engineer director of FTX, and that he said frequently complained about Bankman-Fried that the company's spend recklessly reeked of excessiveness. He particularly owned around 6 or 7% of FTX, and when the collapse of FTX did happen, he literally became a billionaire to literally having nothing at all. Now, what's really important to note is that it's how Bankman-Fried, at the age of 31, spent his FTX money in this critical piece of prosecution case, because the bulk of the alleged fraud revolves around what happened to the billions of dollars of customer funds that were supposed to be invested in crypto and held in client accounts but later disappeared. Bankman-Fried faces 7 criminal counts related to the collapse of FTX and Alameda, including wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering that could put him in prison for life. And so far, Sam Bankman-Fried has pleaded not guilty. We don't know if that's actually going to help him or not. But again, Nishad Singh was one of the very few people in his inner circle next to Caroline Ellison that knew exactly what he was doing, and they all pleaded guilty. And in this photo, you can see from one of the drawings, it says Elon, Obama, Rihanna, Zuckerberg, potential endorsement. So when you saw that letter, that memo that we just saw recently, that's exactly what we're talking about. And on Twitter, Connor exposed something that happened with FTX. Now, he said that FTX had around 1 million plus Ethereum on the platform, which was roughly around $5 billion. That was back on December of 2021. Now, a few months later, again, this was during the bull run of cryptocurrency, they had only 200 million to 800,000 ETH that were removed. Where did it go? Billions deposited directly to Celsius, including 1 billion in 1 month. I don't believe this has been reported previously. I believe this has been previously reported on, but keep in mind, again, where did the money go? It's all in Celsius. Is the money still there? Now, you stuck around to the very end of the video because you want to understand, for you as a customer of FTX, are you going to get your money back? So what FTX said is that 90% of customer funds will be returned. So we don't know what that's going to look like. So yeah, you are basically covered by $250,000, right? That's up to. That means if you go over $250,000, that means you can't get any more than that back. Because again, this is somewhat of a recovery of an exchange. But keep in mind, not everybody will be able to get all their money back because you got to talk about taxes, government claims, token price fluctuations, and also the misuse of funds that customers have been using with this. So it's not like you're just going to get all your money back. And that's why it's really nerve-wracking. And I think this is one of the things that we have to understand and learn from this trial is that we have to be careful with the money that we have on centralized exchanges. If that's Coinbase, Kraken, KuCoin, anything you can think of, maybe it's best to take your funds off the exchange and put it into cold storage, which means you need to buy yourself a ledger. Now, make sure when you do buy a ledger, you buy it from the actual websites, not on Amazon. Because again, if you buy a ledger or cold storage wallet on Amazon or any other third-party website, then you potentially can get your funds stolen because somebody can encrypt something within that ledger. And then once you connect all your funds or send all your funds to that ledger, they can actually steal your money without you knowing it. So that's why you have to buy a ledger from an actual company that makes the product, right? That's really super important. And right now, we have to be very careful when sharing our seed phrases because you're not supposed to. Make sure you write down your seed phrases separately somewhere else and make sure to do it safely and kept it in somewhere secure, like a bank vault, wherever it may be. Don't give anybody your seed phrases. Now, in terms of Sam Bankman-Fried, a lot of people have been speculating if this guy's going to go to jail for many, many years or even to life in prison. We don't know as of yet. But regardless, you need to let your voices heard. This guy definitely used FTX customer funds for the wrong things. He is not allowed to do that. Nobody is allowed to get scot-free with that. Customer funds belong to customers. He manipulated it. He used the funds against the US citizens and people around the world for something of his own selfish doing and got other people in trouble and involved. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to read them. We got to understand where FTX is going, and we will continue to keep you updated on the FTX trial as the days come along. So with that said, be sure to like the button. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Patreon page to receive all of our alpha calls on both buy and sell orders, both NFTs and cryptocurrencies, and get all the news updates regarding FTX. With that said, I'll see you guys and girls next time.